welcome to another episode of We Need to Talk About ... And we're going to have ourselves another Brucie Bonus episode in which we need to talk about...
San Diego Comic-Con.
Yes.
This year San Diego.
Now we're probably just going to talk endlessly for like an hour or so, so there's probably going to be very little edited in this. So this is basically like a video podcast, so maybe you can put it on in the background while you're doing the washing up or doing some other sort of meaningless
menial tasks or something like that. You know, ironing. I feel as though that basically you could listen to us whilst doing some ironing.
Yeah. Or perhaps, you know, you could even listen to us while you're sleeping at night. Maybe the sweet melodic tones of our voice could very well lure you off to sleep, you know.
Obviously, at San Diego Comic-Con, if you don't know, dear God in heaven, San Diego Comic-Con, massive, great big collection of, well, it started off as comics in the 1970s, and obviously over the past few years and what have you, it's ended up being just a massive, great big multimedia convention. And always at these things, various companies, etc., are always there basically telling us, come, here is what we've got coming up for you and what have you. So there's loads of stuff about comics, as there probably should be. But also, it's been, over the past few years, that basically the likes of Marvel films and DCU and sort of the CW and what have you will basically tell you, right, this is what we're doing, here's our first trailer of this, that and other, and
here's what we've got coming up, like TV shows, films, occasionally the odd comic.
And this year, absolutely no exception about this, and there's a lot of good stuff that's coming out in the next 2 or 3 years that has been announced at San Diego, which would have been a time of filming this probably last weekend. So it's about like 4 or 5 days after announcements.
Yes, it would have been, because I was actually in the gym on the treadmill watching some of it being broadcast. I've got this fantastic treadmill in the gym I go to where you basically, as you're walking or running, there's like a big old screen and you can bring up YouTube or Netflix or whatever, you know. Yeah. So basically I can be on there for ages just watching
just watching stuff and
you know,
what's going on.
Next thing I know, I've got a tap on my shoulder, it's like, oh, you're going to have to leave now, we're closing. By that point my legs have turned to lead, you know. Yeah. You know, there you go. So, what was dominated, I mean, we're going to be talking about a lot of stuff in the next hour or so, but what dominated the San Diego Comic-Con was, of course, the announcement of Marvel Phase 4. And we're going to be covering the different films and TV series that have been covered there, and we're going to cover them in the order that they're due to be coming out. Yes. So, first of all, due to be coming out May the 1st in 2020 is Black Widow.
Black Widow, which this we knew about. There's been a couple of the announcements was basically just confirming what was rumoured or what we kind of knew. Black Widow is the first film of Phase 4. Although technically speaking, is it the second film of Phase 4? Because we have Far From Home.
I think Far From Home.
Or does Far From Home count as Phase 3?
That was the conclusion of Phase 3.
So Phase 4 starts with Black Widow. Scarlett Johansson obviously back as Natasha Romanoff, and
in what's meant to be a prequel.
Yeah.
Showing how Natasha Romanoff became the Widow. Looks like it'll answer the question as to what actually happened in Budapest.
Yes.
This is what we wondered about, and how she got red in her ledger to begin with. I like the idea of this. The cast on it is very, very good. Obviously, Scarlett Johansson's back as Black Widow. Florence Pugh is in it as well. As Yelena, who is apparently Natasha's either sister or sister type figure.
It's going to be kind of like that. I think in the comics, Yelena was another product of the Red Room. The Red Room being what is basically where the part of the KGB where Natasha was trained and what have you, and she, in the comics, became Black Widow. How that happens in this film, I don't know, but we'll have to wait and see. Obviously, things to look forward to. David Harbour's in the movie as well, isn't he?
David Harbour, otherwise known as Hopper from Stranger Things. See, Disney's really going after that Netflix mark. I mean, not only they're doing Disney Plus, as we'll discuss later on, but it's like, right, who's big at the moment? Oh, the fella from Stranger Things. Yeah, we'll get him. He'll be playing Alexei, aka the Red Guardian,
which is basically the Russian version of Captain America.
And David Harbour actually came onto the stage with a Captain America T-shirt and what have you, and yes, he will have a shield apparently.
Yes,
From the sounds of it, he's gonna look like an awful lot like the Winter Soldier, you know, with like the armor and the long hair and the shield and what have you.
Interesting enough, it might mean that there may be an appearance by the Winter Guard, which is kind of like Russia's version, shall we say, of the Avengers. So they've been in it, but again, looks very, very good. Apparently, there was some footage that was shown at San Diego, but it was behind closed doors.
Yeah,
because it was very, very rough cut footage. Trailers as and when they happen, to be honest with you.
That's it. Any sort of YouTube videos I've seen where they've said, right, well, let's go look at some footage, and then the video sort of fades to black, and we don't get to see what it is. But apparently, there's a fight scene between Lyanna and Natasha, and apparently the two of them match each other move for move, which further signifies, right, these two
have been trained in the same place,
in the same style. And apparently there was also a fight scene with the person who is said to be the villain, the Taskmaster. Not Greg Davis. That's a different Taskmaster.
Although, to be honest with you, wouldn't that be an interesting film if Greg Davis gets cast as the Taskmaster? That would be brilliant.
And not Kevin Sullivan either. That's a different Taskmaster.
No, we don't go there.
Sullivan, my son.
But yeah, Taskmaster is again a really, really interesting character in the comics. Doesn't necessarily have any superpowers, but he's able to watch somebody fight and then instantly can mirror their style.
Can mirror and copy their style. I mean, I don't know if he's going to look exactly like he did in the comics, because in the comics he's got like the skull mask, he's got the long cape, he's got the sword and shield. He basically looks like Skeletor.
Yes.
So I'm sure they'll go for a more sort of realistic.
I think so. Yeah, I think, to be honest with you, they probably will keep the skull.
The skull mask. I think
they'll
still
keep
the skull mask.
I think that actually works. So yeah, really, really good stuff coming out. First one of next year.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah.
But it's not just films that the MCU are going to be bringing us.
No.
Because, as mentioned before, Disney are really looking to sort of try and compete with Netflix.
Yeah.
With this new streaming service to do it called Disney Plus.
Yep.
And they're going to have, I should imagine they're going to have like plenty of like Disney stuff already, like a lot of the Disney movies, the Marvel films. But then they're going to
Star Wars as well.
Star Wars
is going to be on there, because I do know of 2 series that are going to be on there. They're going to go back and do some more Star Wars Clone Wars. Either Series 6 or Series 7. It's very, very. It's one of the two, but anyways, they're doing a continuation of Clone Wars, and
which is
also,
tremendous.
Yeah, and also the Mandalorian.
Yes, which does look really, really good.
Is, I think, going to be very, very interesting and very, very good stuff. But that's from the Star Wars side of things. From the Marvel side of things, their first show is going to be, David?
The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So Anthony Mackie's back as the Falcon, although it'd be probably like Falcon / Captain America at this point.
Yes.
And Sebastian Stan's back as the Winter Soldier.
The Winter Soldier, which is very interesting because, again, in the comics, both of them, have been Cap.
Yes, they
have been Captain America. They both took over Captain America at various different points. And obviously this is picking up bits and pieces from Endgame, when at the end of Endgame, Steve Rogers gave Sam Wilson the shield and said, basically,
it's your turn now. Yeah.
Your turn now.
And you've kind of had it since Civil War as well, where you've had both Bucky and Falcon like having this sort of buddy sort of rapport bouncing off each other, you know. And I'm looking forward to seeing more of this in Disney. I mean, it's going to have to be good, because at the moment I've already got Netflix and I've already got Amazon Prime. So Disney, if you want me to like
made of money.
Yeah. So Disney, you know, if you want me to fork out for another video streaming service, you're going to have to make this really, really good.
Yeah. Because unlike me, who's got Netflix and I mooch off my brother's Amazon. Can you actually say that? Is that allowed?
Quickly moving on.
Yes, 10-part series. Daniel Bruhl back as Zemo.
Baron Zemo's back,
yes. From Captain America Civil War.
Civil War, yeah.
However, this time round, he is going to be more like the comic Zemo, so the purple mask and
purple mask and the furry cape and what have you.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's going to have to be really good, because I'm not cancelling Netflix and I'm not cancelling Amazon Prime.
Definitely not cancelling Netflix.
Due to some of the other announcements that's come off the back of this.
Yeah. Next up after that, following in 2020, is in November, which is the next Marvel film, which is going to be The Eternals.
The Eternals, yeah, November 6, 2020. Now, I will be honest, this is not a comic series that I am awfully familiar with.
I'll be completely honest as well. I've only dipped into this every now and again. It's not a massively well-known Marvel property. However, it is a massively fondly remembered Marvel property because it was created by the late great Jack Kirby. I think in the 1970s.
Yes.
And I think it's very similar to what he created at DC with regards to the Fourth World and the New Gods and what have you. This is kind of like another version of it. There have been Eternal series recently, but it never sticks around for too long, to be honest with you. It's going to be interesting. I think it's going to be interesting. It's going to be brand new. Vaguely, in the comics, I think the Eternals are distantly related to the Inhumans.
I mean, I think what's been sort of set up there is that how they've sort of adapted is like in the similar way to how the Krees and the Skrulls have sort of adapted.
Yeah, because I think again, we won't get into massively too much of Marvel lore. I think it's got something to do with the Celestials, which are massive celestial beings, which I think were first introduced in Fantastic Four and a few other bits and pieces. So it's definitely based on Earth, but definitely part of kind of like the cosmic Marvel universe.
Yeah, so
plenty of scope to bring in the likes of the Guardians and what have you, and the Kree and various other bits and pieces. Really kicking good cast on it. I would probably say led by Angelina Jolie.
Yeah, Angelina Jolie, Salma Hayek, Richard Madden. Yeah. So they've definitely cast some. Well, they've cast a good selection of well-known actors and a few relatively unknowns and what have you. So I mean, it might also be like a good lead up for how you bring the mutants into the MCU, because if it's established that all these years ago these experiments were done for people to have these powers, to have these mutations, then they went on and created the Krees and the Skrulls. We've already got those established thanks to Captain Marvel. This may be a way that they bring mutants into the MCU at some point.
More on that later.
And I'm hoping that it's actually based on Neil Gaiman's 2006 miniseries. Has actually helped to sort of bring the Eternals, bring them up sort of more up to date in the modern Marvel universe.
That's the one I usually sort of go back to. Neil Gaiman did that one, didn't he? I can't remember. Daniel Kuna, I think, did the artwork on it. But again, that's kind of like my touchstone for it.
Well, that at the moment, anything that's done by Neil Gaiman at the moment is being adapted. It's brilliant, Good Omens, American Gods.
Just prior to San Diego, they did finally basically Netflix have greenlit the
Sandman as well. So it's like Neil Gaiman's on fire at the moment.
Yes, not literally on fire, but he's metaphorically on fire. Eternals back into next year. Very good. Then going on into 2021, this is the one I'm really looking forward to. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Now,
they've wanted to do this for a while in the 90s. Like Stan Lee wanted to sort of do a live action film and get Brandon Lee of all people in to play Shang-Chi. In fact, they even had talks with both Brandon and Linda Lee to sort of do it, because obviously you look at the comics, it's like you've obviously based him off Bruce Lee,
but never want to not look at a trend and copy it. In the 1970s, two of the biggest things that were going on sort of within sort of film and what have you was martial arts movies and blaxploitation films. So basically, martial arts movies, Iron Fist, Shang-Chi. Blaxploitation films, Luke Cage. There we go. And Shang-Chi was created in the 1970s. One of the interesting things about this is obviously, in the title we have the Legend of the Ten Rings. Oh well, we know what that means.
Yeah, and it won't be Trevor Slattery this time.
No.
Bloody hell!
No.
Those baggers won't give me any more drags.
So basically, this is a film whereby the actual Mandarin will be introduced. Obviously we had it mentioned in Iron Man 3, and then in kind of like the Marvel short film, which Ben Kingsley replies his role again. Basically, he was busted out of prison and said, right, the real Mandarin wants to have a word with you. This is about this.
Yeah.
So this is going to be an interesting one. Kind of preempting this one, I'm thinking that when Shang-Chi was originally introduced in the comics, he actually had a link back to an existing literary character, specifically Fu Manchu, created by Sax Rohmer back in the 1930s or something like that. In the 1970s, Fu Manchu was in the public domain, so they could actually make it that Shang-Chi was actually the son of Fu Manchu, who had rebelled against his criminal father.
Yeah.
It's going to be very, very interesting to see whether or not that is going to be mirrored here, that Shang-Chi is going to be sort of the son of the Mandarin, who's basically one of them.
That's the theory that you
That's
have.
the theory that I'm having, and it would be interesting. And again, really, really wonderful cast on this.
Tony Leung as the Mandarin.
Yeah, as the Mandarin. Works for me.
Yeah. And Simi Liu in the title role of
I'm
Shang-Chi.
not familiar with that gentleman.
No. Again, this is another comic I'm not familiar with, which is bizarre because you would have thought comic books and kung fu flicks would be right up my street. But I'll certainly be looking into picking up some back issues.
Yeah,
graphic novels of this.
Shang-Chi's the comics are really, really good. The 1970s comics are really, really good. He is a character that has been kicking around for quite some time. He's been in the Avengers and what have you. There was various bits and pieces where he popped in Spider-Man as well.
He did.
He taught Peter Parker how to actually fight.
And he's popped up in, funnily enough, you mentioned Iron Fist and Luke Cage and what have you. Shang-Chi was part of the Heroes for Hire at one point.
Yes, he was.
So you had like your blaxploitation and your martial arts and all those sort of three characters.
All of them together, and also Colleen Wynn and Misty Knight as well, the Daughters of the Dragon, who have definitely popped up in the Netflix TV shows. I think both of them are in an Iron Fist, and I'm definitely sure that Misty popped up in Luke Cage as well. So Shang-Chi, okay.
I can predict this being huge because I mean, like the Marvel movies are like massive in China at the moment, to the point where, like in some of the Marvel films, they've actually got exclusive scenes that are filmed in China and are shown only in like the Chinese version of those films, like Iron Man 3. The Chinese version of that has a scene which was filmed in China, which is only shown in the Chinese version of that film, because it's a massive market for him to sort of break, and I think they've obviously looked to sort of go, right, we need a Chinese superhero to sort of bring to the masses, which I found bizarre that when it came to sort of doing Iron Fist, they didn't like cast a Chinese lead in the role. You know, it's like,
well, saying that though, the reason why they didn't do that is because Iron Fist has never been Chinese.
But they
could have been out. Yeah, I can understand where you're coming from.
Could have played against type though.
Swapped on Danny Rand's ethnicity.
Well, especially when you see what they did with the ancient one in Doctor Strange.
Well, yes.
Yeah, but we won't go into that again.
No, not at all.
So that it's not a comic I'm familiar with, but I am looking forward to seeing that. Not just the whole.
I can find some Shang-Chi. So.
Oh, thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Not just the whole kung fu thing, but the fact that we will get the real Mandarin.
We'll get the real Mandarin. Yeah.
Back to Disney Plus, and we have WandaVision, an original series starring Elizabeth Olsen as Wanda Maximoff, the Scarlet Witch, and Paul Bettany as Vision.
Now,
I'm guessing they're somehow bringing Vision back.
Now, this is interesting. So WandaVision hits in the spring of 2021. At probably around about the same time, May time, we get Doctor Strange 2, or to give it its full title, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
Which is a great title.
Wonderful title. But what they've said about that is they've confirmed that Elizabeth Olsen is playing Wanda in that, and that could be the lead-in to WandaVision of how Vision comes back.
So the two of them sort of tie off.
So the two of them are going to tie off with one another. Again, fantastic fantastic title, In the Multiverse of Madness.
The Multiverse of Madness.
So,
and Monica Rambeau, who was introduced to us in Captain Marvel, she was a child.
Yeah.
She's going to be in this as well, but the adult version of that character is going to be played by Teyona Paris.
Okay.
Which should be tremendous.
And if anybody knows that the Monica Rambeau was at the time, she also is a hero. She was at the time, but she actually had the moniker of Captain Marvel at the time for some time. Now commonly referred to as Photon, I think. And so 2 bits there. Really,
almost
so it's going to be
tied in.
Almost tied in.
And of course, Benedict Cumberbatch will be back as Dr. Stephen Strange. And Scott Derrickson will be returning as the director as well. So we're keeping the same director from the first Doctor Strange. And of course, at some point what on with Baron
Mordo.
Baron Mordo is gonna pop back up again.
I think that's going to happen as well. And then after, so we get Doctor Strange and WandaVision. The actual WandaVision is probably the start of Disney Plus going Marvel mad, because at the same time in spring in 2020 we've got Loki.
Yes.
And then summer, and then the autumn we've got What If, and then Hawkeye. So Loki first.
Now
all hail Tom Hiddleston.
Do you know what? When they first brought in the character of Loki, they probably didn't have any idea that the character would take off and be as popular as this. But Tom Hiddleston's portrayal of Loki is so good that they've brought him back time and time again. You sort of think, right, he's been killed off. No, they've brought him back. You get the impression that this probably wasn't part of the bigger plan. When they killed off Loki in Infinity War, I thought, right, that's it, that's him done. But the internet was full of so many theories going, oh right, well it's not him, because if you have a look, he had his knives in his other hand and Loki's right hand. There were all these theories going about because people didn't want to believe that Loki had been killed off. Yeah. So he's such a popular character that through all the time twisting and time bending in Endgame, they've sort of brought him back. He's cheated death again, and he's buggered off with the Tesseract.
So this picks up from that.
It'll pick and explain what Loki did next, basically.
Yeah. Can we just really quick? Can I just jump before we talk about What If? We'll jump and we'll talk about Hawkeye just really quickly, because What If is probably going to be. I think it's going to be really interesting. But Hawkeye is again picking up where Endgame left off. They've confirmed that Jeremy Renner's back as Clint Barton. They've also confirmed that Kate Bishop.
Yep, Kate Bishop
is going to be in the series.
Who's been hitting a mark in the comics recently.
Oh, nice pun.
Yeah, thank you. Nice thought you'd like that.
Yeah.
My only concern, and I'm sorry to sort of break you off there, it's going to have to be very good to sort of try and avoid comparisons with another TV show that has a bow and arrow themed vigilante that's sort of going off at the same time, but we'll come to that one.
I kind of get this idea that in my head I think this might be kind of like a Marvel Universe version of Hannah.
Oh, okay. Yes, okay. Another one, that series that's on Amazon at the moment.
But was obviously previously a film beforehand. So the Hawkeye series is basically Clint hanging up a bow and arrow and then passing it down to Kate Bishop. And someone said that Kate Bishop is Hawkeye. Probably the better of the Hawkeyes. It's a really good series anyways. Really wonderful read. Prior to that, we've got What If. Now, What If is basically all of the actors that have been in sort of all of the various Marvel movies and what have you. This is an animated series, and it picks up a popular comic in Marvel, What If. And what it will basically do is it will put forward a different storyline, a different version of Marvel history. So, for example,
what if the first What If comic I read, just to give you an idea, what if the Incredible Hulk killed Wolverine?
Yeah. That's that goes back and that gives you an alternative sort of version of Incredible Hulk issue 181, 182, which are the first sort of appearance of Wolverine, or what if Elektra had lived, so picking up from something from Daredevil, or what if what if Jean Grey had lived? She didn't. Yeah. She survived the Dark Phoenix saga and what have you. really, really interesting. It's probably going to be, I would say, different versions of the things that we've seen in the Marvel Universe films. So it's going to be less about the comics and more about the films. But I think this could actually be really, really good. I like the idea of this.
I like the sort of coming back to sort of bring the, you know, have big voice talent to sort of bring.
Yeah.
They're doing the roles again, but it's they're sort of recording the voices. And we've got Jeffrey Wright as the voice of the Watcher, whose voice I could listen to for days.
Jeffrey Wright is a wonderful actor. And then the last thing that had a concrete date. This story broke, I think, just before San Diego, that there was going to be another Thor film.
It's Thor.
Or Thor: Love and Thunder. So the Hemsworth is back.
Yes.
As is Tessa Thompson. Taiki Waititi. Is that how you pronounce his name?
Taiki Waititi, yeah.
He's back as director. I think he's writing it as well. The voice of Korg as well.
All right.
Yeah.
On Korg. This is Meek.
How you doing?
We're going to be on that ship. You want to come with us?
But the wonderful thing about it was that in the process of announcing the film, he was asked the question, "What's your favourite Thor stories?" And he said, "Well, when we were making Ragnarok, I was reading Mighty Thor by Jason Aaron." And everybody just went, "Oh, really?"
Oh.
Because at that time, Thor is Thor, but the Odin son was not Thor. And the people started getting a little bit interested by this. And then that led to Natalie Portman being brought on stage, and then basically, you know, Tahiki kneeling down in front of her, and, you know, producing Mjolnir and her taking it. So Natalie Portman's going to be back as Jane Foster.
Yep.
And she will be Thor.
She won't be Lady Thor, she won't be female Thor, she will be Mighty Thor.
Thor.
The goddess of thunder.
Exactly. Thor is Thor, that is it. If you want to argue about it, read Mjolnir.
And, I mean, people might be a bit sort of confused, sort of thinking, right, well, okay, where does Guardians fall into this? Because obviously where Endgame finished off, Thor was going off with the Guardians of the Galaxy. Now, James Gunn had confirmed on Twitter a bit of MCU chronological sort of order.
MCU chronological gubbins.
Thor: Love and Thunder will be set before Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, because James Gunn's going to be busy off doing
Suicide Squad.
The Suicide Squad. So the fourth Thor film is released as the fourth Thor film is released as part of Phase 4. Whilst the third Guardians film is likely going to be Phase 5, but we'll come to Phase 5 in a moment.
Which kind of begs the question: are we okay? So Chris Hemsworth playing Thor, is it going to be Dude Bro Thor from Endgame?
Yeah, will he still have the fat suit on?
Will he still have the fat suit on? Because that would be awesome if it is.
I will, because, you know, I obviously need to work on my Asgardian physique, don't I? Which is why we're going for pizza and beer after this.
Absolutely. So
it's going to be weird. I'm guessing something's going to happen where Thor's going to get dropped off somewhere by the Guardians, so he can you know, be on his own for this.
For that one, yeah.
But then he'll rendezvous back with the crew,
back with the Guardians
for the third Guardians of the Galaxy. So will he still be Thor by the time we come to Guardians of the Galaxy 3, or will he be?
Will he just be the Odin son? We don't know. Yeah. It's going to be great anyway. Let's be honest with you.
I'm massively looking forward to this.
Yeah, because Ragnarok was just hilarious.
Yeah.
It was just hilarious. Really, really good. Really, really funny. And hopefully, you know, it'll have a more light-hearted mood. Because even, you know, we've been sort of knee-deep in sort of, you know, Thanos and, you know, end of the world type stuff and what have you. Let's have a little bit more light-heartedness.
Preferably with a 60s, 70s, 80s sort of theme soundtrack, you know.
Yeah, that'll be cool.
And it's lovely to see Natalie Portman back in the MCU as well. I mean, she did have little appearances here and there. They used some footage from Thor: The Dark World, which is sort of spliced nicely into Endgame.
But this is her back.
But it's nice to have her
and
back.
the fact that she will be Thor.
Yeah.
Which is wonderful. That was the last one that actually had a concrete date. there were a couple of other things mentioned in the MCU panel at that time. Kevin Feige confirmed that yes, we are doing the Fantastic Four.
Well, his phrase was, "Oh, we've talked about so much tonight. It's a shame we didn't get a chance to talk about Black Panther 2.
Yeah.
It's a shame we didn't get a chance to talk about Captain Marvel 2.
Yeah.
It's a shame we didn't get a chance to talk about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
We've kind of done that for him.
Yeah. We didn't even have time to talk about the Fantastic Four or about the mutants."
Right.
People just went, "What? What?"
Not mutants, X-Men. Thank you. Very, very quickly. Although I think they're using mutants as a way of getting around some sort of copyrighty business. But at the end of the day, it's X-Men.
Yeah.
And then the last one. Now this is all of those shows that they basically confirmed and what have you, including the Fantastic Four and the X-Men, we knew about.
Yeah.
We didn't know the extent of it, but we knew about. Then he brought on Marshall Ali.
Yep.
And then that was a case of, hang on a minute, what's he doing here?
Well, everyone was wearing Black Widow baseball caps at the time. Because it's like, oh yeah, we've all brought baseball caps with the Black Widow logo.
Yeah.
Oh, I understand you've got your own cap.
You've got your own cap there, haven't
He
you?
slipped his cap on. Blade.
The Daywalker strikes again. This is, okay. This could be something really, really good.
I mean, as much as I loved Wesley Snipes in the original Blade films, I mean, in Blade Trinity, he was an absolute pain in the ass to work with, apparently, to the point where he wouldn't even open his eyes for a spot where he was laid down, so they actually had to CGI him opening his eyes.
Yes, but Blade Trinity is a complete pile of crap.
I find it's easy to watch now because Ryan Reynolds in it. If you just pretend that Deadpool's in it and he's just taking the piss out of him for a while. But I do have a lot of fond memories of Blade and Blade 2.
Oh, well, Blade was absolutely fantastic. Stephen Norrington directed that, and that was that was. You could basically say that Blade basically kicked off the whole resurgence of Marvel movies.
I think it helped.
And it was a really, really good script on it. It was really, really done very, very well.
I mean, after Batman and Robin practically killed superhero
Yes.
movies in general,
Thanks, Joel.
they were trying to sort of entice it back, and thought, right, well, let's use a character that people have probably not heard of all that much. And they tried with Blade. Blade was a success, and then from there we ended up getting like the X-Men movies and the Spider-Man movies and what have you.
And to a lesser extent, Billy Zane as the Phantom.
So we do have a lot to.
I have love for the Phantom.
Don't we all? Anyone that wants to run around in tight purple onesies.
Don't mock the ghost who walks, I tell you. Do not mock the ghost.
Do not ghost the ghost.
Do not ghost the ghost.
I mean, if you look back over the Blade films now, they're still good. I mean, but they're severely flawed now. If you sort of look back,
The second one isn't.
The second one's has aged quite well, but the first one and definitely the third one have aged terribly.
Yeah. The third one was just an awful. It was just an awful idea, to be honest with you. The second one is basically the high point because that was Guillermo del Toro just being Guillermo del Toro.
And Ron Perlman.
Being.
And Donnie Yen was in it, but
yes, he was.
Sweet FA with him, you know.
Donnie Yen was. Donnie Yen just needs to turn up and do. Yeah, what is he remaking? Fat Thingamajig.
He's remaking Enter the Fat Dragon.
Enter the Fat Dragon.
Yeah.
Yeah, we kind of mentioned that, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. In our Blaxploitation episode, it was a remake of the Sammo Hung movie.
Yeah.
I have to say that, I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing Blade coming to the MCU.
Yes.
But you've got to feel sorry for the everyday citizens in that universe, because not only have you got to put up with being attacked by Skrulls, Kree, Chitauri, sentient androids, random supervillains, and Asgardian gods.
Oh, and don't forget Thanos, Mad Titans.
And Thanos, Mad Titans. Now we've got to worry about fucking vampires as well. Now I'm guessing that they're going to go down the route of the Ultimate Marvel comics, which have been like a massive influence in the MCU, in which, Blade and your vampires, they're not going to be your traditional blood of Dracula type vampires, but rather the result of a secret experiment to try and replicate the super soldier serum, which is also the Marvel the Ultimate Marvel Comics explanation on how we get mutants as well.
Yes,
because we keep sort of trying to sort of do the super soldier thing, and oh shit, we've ended up with mutants, and oh, we've got vampires as well. Maybe we should stop trying to play God.
Although, to be honest with you, I'm kind of no, don't go the ultimate version. Just go the comics way. Just go the comics way, especially with vampires. It would be very, very interesting to see, because obviously Blade was introduced again in the 1970s in Tomb of Dracula. It will be interesting to see if they would have to bring in Dracula. If they did that way, at some point they would have to bring in Dracula.
Yeah.
Against Blade. Not in the way that they did it with Blade Trinity.
Absolutely
because
not.
That was awful.
Yeah, watch that, and it's like, right, this is how not to do it.
This is how not to do it. This is how you, and hopefully they can do that. But again, Marshall Ali, great actor. Already popped up in the MCU playing Cottonmouth in the Luke Cage series on Netflix.
Cage, which is weird, because that, to me, that says, right, basically everything that was part of the Netflix series, just ignore that.
I don't know. I think at some point they're going to bring them together.
We'll see.
But we'll wait and see about that one. So yeah, that's the Marvel stuff. That's about half an hour talking about
Marvel
stuff.
Half an hour. So yeah, so Phase 4 is going to be loaded up with the likes of Black Widow, Eternal, Shang-Chi, Doctor Strange 2, Thor 4, and then Thor 4, and then Phase 5 is likely going to be loaded up with the likes of Blade, the Fantastic Four, the X-Men, and some of the sequels that we've talked about. And they'll probably want to cap off Phase 4 at some point with an Avengers-like team-up film. So, you know, I mean, Shang-Chi, you could have Shang-Chi, and then you could have the Falcon, the Winter Soldier, and what have you. So you can still have like an Avengers team-up movie at the end, but they've not.
It's going to be a little bit different.
But it's certainly going to be very exciting.
It's going to be really, really good stuff. And I mean, Marvel usually sort of hold court over these things and usually take over sort of Hall H and what have you at San Diego. And they definitely did this year, especially considering that DC wasn't there. Or certainly DC movies wasn't there.
DC movies weren't there.
DCEU or whatever they call it these days.
Well, Warner Brothers in general weren't there.
Yeah.
They sort of opted to skip the show, so there was no news about projects like Wonder Woman 1984.
No.
There was no sort of news about Dune.
No.
We got plenty of trailer drops, including Top Gun Maverick.
A Top Gun sequel. Did we really need a Top Gun sequel? Based on that trailer? I think we do.
I think we do, but between that and we're doing one more sequel to Rambo as well, Rambo Last Blood. So someone who wakes up from a coma and they realise that the top films that year are like Rambo and Top Gun. It'd be like
1987 all over again.
We're back to that scene in Jumanji where he comes out of the game and says, "What year is this?"
But again, it does look very, very good. I don't know who's directing this one, because obviously original Top Gun was directed by Tony Scott, who now is no longer with us. It looks very good. The scenes when he's sort of the aerial scenes look really, really good.
It looks like there's another game of basketball on the beach as well. Lots of sweaty, muscular torsos going off there.
Well, whatever floats your boat, mate.
And that's just the women.
That would be interesting, actually. Would it be more gender balanced this time round? I don't know. Who knows? But again, it looks really, really good. And yeah, a sequel that we didn't know that we wanted.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's go for it.
We'll see.
We'll see about that.
We'll see how that goes.
What do we want to mention next?
Shall we talk about Picard?
Yes. Let's.
Now it is set after Nemesis, so yes, I'm afraid that piece of shit is still part of the canon.
Well, I think it's set after Nemesis, and it's set after the bits that were mentioned in Star Trek: The Abrams reboot. So all of the bits with sort of Ambassador Spock, the gone but will never forgotten Leonard Nimoy. So all of that stuff's happened, and it does look. I mean, there was a teaser trailer around about 2 months ago, or something like that. Very, very quick. That it seems that Picard is not in Starfleet. He is retired.
Yeah. He's
to his family vineyard,
which is what he always wanted, and he's on the sound of it, he spent the last 2 decades,
tending his vines,
and pouring out his wine and what have you. But you can tell that he's been greatly affected by Data's sacrifice at the end of Nemesis, to the point where he's moved to his vineyards and he's tried for like the last 2 decades to make that feel like his home, but in typical Picard fashion, he's...
And this is all in the trailer as well. He does actually mention it, and then things start getting a little bit interesting when somebody comes, a young girl comes to visit him in his vineyard. She's, and let's not mince words with her, she's a bit of a badass considering sort of the fight sequences that I showed in there. Picard is
getting some Hannah vibes there as well.
Yeah, and it's kind of like Picard mentions that if she is who I think she is, she's in danger. We don't know who she is.
We can only speculate at this
and it's really, really interesting speculation actually, that a couple of things that were in the trailer which we can talk about, and it's not going to be a spoiler, is there is a brief shot of a Borg cube which looks to be destroyed. There's a section where 7 of 9 turns up. Yes. Which is interesting.
Looking very good as well.
Well, yes. There's a very, very brief review of a Borg, and they've confirmed that that's Hugh.
Ah, okay.
So the Borg that they tried to break away from the collective in iBorg, and then later on in Descent as well. So there's that. There's various shots of Romulans. So this is where the Romulans don't have a home anymore because Romulus has been destroyed. And then right at the end,
old Golden Eyes is back.
Oh yes.
Well, we're guessing it's Data. I mean, it's possible that it could be a holodeck simulation, or it's possible that it could be one of Data's brothers. It could be B4 from Nemesis, or possibly even Law.
Well,
I'd like to think it is Data.
It's Data.
We'll have to.
It's Data, but he's using B4's body basically, because there was that shot right at the end of Nemesis where Picard's trying to explain things to B4, and he starts singing the song that Data sang at Riker and Troy's wedding. So I think, Data would back himself up, so to speak.
Let's hope so.
But one of the things that they have also basically said, it wasn't in the trailer, but Jonathan Frakes is back behind the camera. I think he's directing a couple of episodes. He's directing a couple of episodes, but I do believe that he and also Marina Sirtis are back in the series. So it will be very, very interesting to see where Will and Deanna are these days. Hopefully, fingers crossed, Riker is either Admiral, he probably will be, or he's, well, let's put it this way, he was given command of a starship at the end of Nemesis. I think if any Next Generation fans, they know that's not the ship that he would want the captain.
No.
We know which ship he would want the captain, and hopefully
he's the captain of the Enterprise, or if not, he's already been captain of the Enterprise and he's since been promoted to Admiral.
Or male god king of the universe, or something like that.
Now, despite the fact that we've got returning characters from the Next Generation,
yes,
I wouldn't expect this to be a continuation of the Next Generation. It's not going to be all bright and colourful like that was. It looks like it's far darker and grimier than what that is.
Well, I think
it's definitely going to be its own thing.
There's more talk of other Star Trek shows. So obviously Discovery is going to be back for Series 3, but there's also a talk of a show called Lower Decks.
They've kind of seen what they've done with the Orwell, which is basically Star Trek, but a massive piss take of it.
Yes, yeah.
Seth MacFarlane.
Yeah.
It's almost like, you want to take the piss out of Star Trek, do you? We'll show you how to take the piss out of Star Trek. So they're essentially doing a comedy series of Star Trek where it basically is going to sort of try and outdo the Orwell and being a spoof of this.
That goes back to when Galaxy Quest was released, and the story goes that Jonathan Frakes went to see it, and then phoned up Patrick Stewart and said, "We need to go and see this." Oh well, no, but we need to go and see this incognito in a film theatre and just watch it. And they're just watching it there, and coming out of it, they basically said, "Yes, it's exactly like that." Yeah. So, but yeah, lots of Star Trek stuff coming, and Picard does look really, really good.
And it's going to be exclusive to Amazon as well, which is really weird considering that every other Star Trek show is on Netflix.
It's the CBS Paramount streaming service first. They've got that, and then that's because Discovery's on Discovery went to Netflix.
Well, everything Star Trek is on Netflix. The original series, even the animated series, Next Generation, Voyager, Enterprise, Deep Space Nine, it's all on Netflix. Yeah. So you sort of think, oh, it's going to come to Netflix. No, this one's coming to Amazon Prime, so it's like, right, you're going to have to fork out for both, I'm afraid.
Damn it. Streaming services.
Other upcoming TV shows, we'll touch upon some of these very briefly.
Yeah.
The Watchmen. Now it looks like it's going to be taking place after the story that we had in the comic and in the film and what have you. So
the film's awful.
I would guess that Rorschach's diary has been published and it's now inspired others to take up his mantle. That's why you've got various people dressed up as Rorschach.
It looks very, very interesting. Jeremy Irons is playing Ozymandias. There's various other bits and pieces. It does look to be a continuation of things. It looks interesting.
Obviously, HBO's looking for something massive now that Game of Thrones is finished.
So basically, I think there's a bet in the farm on this one, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I think this could be interesting, but it depends on how they, how they approach it. Watchmen. A lot of people have tried to adapt Watchmen. Terry Gilliam tried to adapt Watchmen and couldn't do it. Obviously, Alan Moore never wanted it to be adapted. Zack Snyder had a go.
We'll just say that he had a go.
He had a go.
Maybe that's why this series they've said, right, instead of attempting to do the book, we're going to do what happened after the book, because they've said for years that adapting the book was not possible. I mean, I'm sure in this day and age you probably could have a really good go at trying to do it again, but maybe, I don't know, from the film it's left a bit of a bad taste in people's mouths, so it's like, right, rather than trying to do the book again, let's do what happened after the book. It's interesting. I'm
interested to see how it goes. I mean, which actually sort of TV series of past films. This actually brings us nicely on because we can talk about his Dark Materials. Because this is HBO BBC co-production. So obviously based on the Philip Pullman novels, which was previously done as a film.
The Golden Compass, which
2003.
It was.
So it's a while ago.
So the Golden Compass. I mean, previously when they did it, you had Daniel Craig and you had Nicole Kidman in there, and I remember it being absolute dog shit and an insult to people who enjoyed the books. In fact, within 6 months of it being released, it was in Poundland, which says it all. Not just the DVD version, but the actual sort of fancy sort of special edition in the tin and what have you. That was it on the shelves of fucking Poundland.
So
and I've got Josh off camera just nodding to say yes, I agree. It was absolute dog shit.
So with this one, who's in this one? Ruth Wilson's in this. Oh God, James McAvoy's in this.
But James McAvoy tends to turn up in all kinds of
stuff. Very true.
Is it It Part 2?
That there was a trailer for that as well in San Diego. So it looks to be very, very interesting. I think transmission-wise, I think we get it first on the BBC.
Oh, jolly good, as we should
do. And then HBO follows.
We're paying that bloody licence fee for something.
Absolutely.
A couple of things coming on to Netflix originals is The Dark Crystal, Age of Resistance, which is going to be a sequel to the Dark Crystal movie.
Which is brilliant.
Which is really, really good.
Really, really good. If anybody has never seen The Dark Crystal, I first saw The Dark Crystal, and I was not prepared to see The Dark Crystal.
Yeah.
Nobody from our generation was prepared to see The Dark Crystal because everybody mentioned, it's a Jim Henson
film.
It's
Jim Henson. It'll be like the Muppets.
It's not like the Muppets. It's not like
Sat
the
there
Muppets.
going, I don't know what this is, but I am not mentally or emotionally at the right age to be watching this.
I'll tell you something, but watching that now, watching The Dark Crystal now, is wonderful. And it's like, my God, this is it's it's a fairy tale, but it is a fairy tale. It's a dark fairy tale, and it's absolutely wonderful. It was first released mid-80s.
In the 80s, yeah.
Mid-80s, so it's a long time to wait for a TV series to be based off of it. But again, it looks brilliant. The voice cast sound. I mean, everybody and their mothers in this. Yeah. Because the voice cast on it is absolutely superb.
There's another Netflix series as well, The Witcher.
Yes.
It's going to be based on the books rather than the video games.
Yeah.
Which is fair enough. I've not read the books, and
I've
not really played many of the video games. I tried getting into The Witcher 2 and just couldn't get into it. But apparently, Witcher 3 is very good.
Very good. And still considered to be the high watermark of the Witcher series. Henry Cavill is playing Geralt.
Which has got a few people going, I mean, the wig that he was wearing in like the first teaser trailer, where people were just like, "What the fuck is that?" It made Halle Berry's wig in the first X-Men film look good, you know. But I'm willing to give it. A go.
I think
Geralt should be played by an older guy, though, someone who's a bit more rough and ready, who's got, or at least got a bit of a beard on his face.
Really?
You know?
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh right. Is that your audition already?
It is, yeah.
Okay, very good.
I can supply my own unicorn.
You've got your own herd, haven't you? So The Witcher, next year sometime?
Next year on Netflix.
Next year on Netflix, the same as The Dark Crystal. Really quickly before we go on anything, talking about other things being rebooted. Oh, Jane Silent Bob's back.
Yes.
Jane Silent Bob's back.
Jason Mewes and Kevin Smith back together for the first time in what, 20 years? Is it 20 years since Jane Silent Bob Strike Back?
It possibly could be.
Yeah.
I think Clerks 2 was after that.
Yes.
Which, I still haven't got over watching Clerks 2, to be honest with you.
We never will, probably.
We never will.
Funnily enough, it's a very similar story to what happens in Jane Silent Bob Strike Back.
No, it's completely the same story as what happens in Jane Silent Bob.
Because in that film, they were travelling to Hollywood to stop a film adaptation of Bloodman and Chronic.
Yes.
But this time, they're trying to stop a dark and gritty reboot of Bloodman and Chronic.
Yes.
Kevin Smith once again directing again. I love the gag that they threw in. Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, the film's going to be shit. Who's directing this? Kevin fucking Smith. And at that point, Silent Bob turns around. Gives it that.
Well, it's an to be honest with you, though, it's an interesting. I think he's always wanted to do it. He's always wanted to go back and do a third Clerks film, and that didn't work out. And then there was going to be a TV. Then he was going to try and do a TV series, and that didn't work out. And then Kevin Smith went off and started doing. I mean, I'm genuinely really big Kevin Smith fan. And then when he went off and did things like Red State and Tusk. And Yoga Hosers.
Tusk. He jokes about that on nearly every episode of this podcast.
But he started doing, again, just really low budget things. I mean, Red State is a fantastic film. It's a fantastic horror film. It's just not the type of film that you would have expected Kevin Smith to do. He then followed it with Tusk, which is just weird, and Yoga Hosers, which is even weirder. I haven't seen that one yet. And apparently. That and another film they form the True North trilogy. So there's another one of that coming up called Moose Jaws.
Moose Jaws.
Yes. So basically, it's Jaws, but it's a moose.
But it's a killer moose.
It's a killer moose.
Fantastic. Should be good.
It should be good. But he's back in doing this. Most of the cast from sort of the View Askew universe and what have you was seen. Obviously, Ian Mewes is back. Shannon Elizabeth is back as Justice, and this time it seems that Justice and Jay's daughter is coming along for the ride as well, which is very interesting. Played by Kevin Smith's actual daughter.
Yeah.
And there was
at one point the ball pulls out a flick now. Well, you won't be able to handle yourself. You know, Hollywood's a tough place.
Takes to Hollywood or we will cut you. Matt Damon was in it as well, which is interesting. Ben Affleck was seen in it as well.
Do you know what? I'm hoping that Ben Affleck and Matt Damon are playing Bloodman and Chronic in this sort of gritty reboot.
They're not. I know who's playing Bloodman and Chronic in the reboot.
Who is it?
Okay, so Chronic is being played by because not only has Kevin Smith been doing those interesting films, he's also been directing quite a lot of the CW shows, so The Flash and Supergirl. So Melissa Benoist, who plays Supergirl in the TV show, is playing Chronic. Is playing Chronic. Blunt Man, on the other hand, in this gritty reboot, is being played by Val Kilmer. Brilliant stuff.
Is Val Kilmer going to turn up in Top Gun Maverick? Or what?
Yes.
Is it?
Yes.
Because I don't think he's aged quite as well as what Tom Cruise has.
He's, I'm sure. Well, he's had health issues. He was very, very ill last year, and it's wonderful that he's still with us.
I just thought it might be
Dodge that bullet.
I just think it might be quite fitting if Ben Affleck was actually playing like the sort of gritty version of Blunt Man. You know, he might find it fairly therapeutic to point some fun at his own recent superhero dark and gritty reboot.
Well, he might do that because he's back, and he will be playing. He's back playing Holden, the character, the actual creator of Blunt Man and Chronic, from back when Jason Amy.
Jason Amy.
Jason. Is it Jason Scott who plays Banky? And well, anyways, he's back. The Viewer Skew guys are all back, so that's going to be quite cool.
You've also got Chris Hemsworth popping in there, Rosie O'Dawson, and Chris Jericho.
Yes,
all set to appear in the film as well. So
that sounds interesting. So yeah. Okay.
Well, you mentioned the CW. I think that's a good time to start talking about the CW shows. Now, Arrow's back, The Flash is back. Now, personally speaking, I stopped watching Arrow after season 4. To be honest, I probably should have stopped after season 3, if I'm being honest.
It's been interesting. It's been interesting stuff. A lot of it has been good. I think The Flash has been really good. DC Legends.
See, The Flash just pissed me off. I watched season 1 and 2.
Speedster villain.
Yeah. Started watching season 3, and it's just like
Speedster villain.
Yeah, it's the same thing again. You know,
they've mixed it up.
You're causing your own problems, Barry. This is a timeline. Yeah. Don't fuck this one. Oh, too late. Oh no. I'm gonna put my dick in the timeline again.
We're going to have to bleep that bit out. I really, really am.
Barry, this is a new timeline. Can I fuck it? No, what are you doing, Barry? No!
Okay, very good. Moving swiftly on. Supergirl's been really good. The last series, John Cryer came in as Lex Luthor. He's sticking around, which is good. DC Legends is just absolutely hilarious. And for God's sake, they did a massive, great big Bollywood-style dance number in one episode last series.
Because why not?
Because why not? And considering
if it was good enough for Buffy the Vampire Slayer to have a musical episode, then
Well, exactly. I mean, let's be honest with you. A massive, great, big Furby saved the universe in a 2 series ago or something like that. Yeah. Bebo want hug. And but also again, this John Constantine's been on this one as well, so they're back. They are being joined this time round by Batwoman. There was a Batwoman series. This Ruby Rose has been cast as Batwoman. She was in sort of the previous crossover episode, sort of last time round. So they're going on for a full series of that. That too looks very, very good. Very quickly, Arrow is going back to Arrow is on its last series now of 10 episodes. That then leads into the big, massive, great big CW-DC crossover, which they basically called out last year as well, that it's going to be Crisis on Infinite Earths. And okay, this sounds really, really good. I like the idea of this. Considering that it does mean, however, that Brandon Routh is going to be very, very busy in this series, because not only is he playing Ray Palmer the Atom in DC Legends, he's also back as Superman.
Yes.
Okay, that's fine, but he's also back as the Kingdom Come Superman.
So he's got the black and red sort of Superman logo.
So he's going to be sort of playing it offside, sort of the Superman that's basically turning up in Supergirl as well, which is fine. Good.
I'm fine with all of this. He was a bloody good Superman. It's just a shame that the film he was in wasn't particularly good,
No. But also, I think I've heard rumbling. Actually, no, it's not a rumbling. They've actually confirmed it as well. Now, think on this, if this had been any different, this would have been absolutely brilliant. But they have actually said that Burt Ward's going to be into it. Burt Ward's been cast in the crossover. Now then,
at some point, is he going to do this and say something holy?
I tell you something. I want him to be an aging Robin. I hope he's not playing another character or something like that. They've just cast Burt Ward. I do hope that he's playing Robin.
Yeah.
But then that immediately makes me really, really sad that Adam West isn't back as Batman.
Yeah.
That's just one of those things. But again, things will rumble on with that. I'm not entirely sure what they're doing with DC Legends. The Flash, the villain, has been cast and named.
It's probably another person that runs fast.
It's not. It's Bloodwork.
Oh, okay.
So it's a different one for that. So it'll be interesting to see how things go with this one. I think the Arrow series could actually be sort of quite good this time, because obviously he's with the Monitor now and he's going from Earth to Earth to try and find, I think he's Crisis on Earth, so he's basically going up against the Anti-Monitor. We all know this.
I may drop in and watch that, but like I said, I stopped watching both Arrow and Flash quite a while ago, so it's going to have to be something very good to sort of try and draw me back into it. Okay, we've been recording for an hour so far. We were going to talk about the new Terminator movie, but I think we'll just sort of round it up. It's like, Arnie's back, both Linda Hamilton's back.
This is good.
So,
Edward Furlong's back as well, isn't he?
Edward Furlong's back as well, so, they've obviously thought, right, the series has been on absolute rocky ground since the second film. In fact, anything after Terminator 2...
Doesn't exist.
Don't bother with it, Terminator 3 was dog shit, Salvation was dog shit. I can see what they were trying to do with Genesis, and bringing back Arnie was a good thing, but ultimately it was just like, no.
Also, they're doing quite a similar thing that Neil Blomkamp was going to try and do with Aliens, that basically Aliens happened, and then that's it.
Yeah. He's doing a similar thing with RoboCop, isn't he?
Yes.
RoboCop Returns is basically just going to ignore RoboCop's 2, 3 and all the various TV series.
That's a shame. 2 was actually not that bad. I think
2 was alright.
2 was alright.
But then it dropped off a cliff after that.
3 definitely when the rot set in.
But this is Terminator 6 now, so let's see if Arnie and Linda Hamilton's reunion can bring the series back to its former glory. Personally speaking, I think they should have left it after T2, but...
and even then, I think that T2 was awful.
What?
I don't like T2.
Do you not like T2?
I don't like T2.
Oh, blimey.
I don't like T2. I'm sorry, I don't like T2.
That is surprising.
Terminator's really, really good. Basically, like Alien, it's a science fiction slasher flick.
Well, it's almost like a horror film, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, both of them, both Alien. I mean, obviously with Alien, the first one's a slasher flick. Aliens is a war film, basically. Alien 3, released version, okay, fine, fair enough. Work print version, the actual Fincher cut that he wanted to do is actually really, really good, but even then, there's a few other flaws with it. Terminator is just really good, and I think anything after Terminator 2 with sort of you just started confusing the timelines and what have you. And the thing that's probably the thing that gets me about T2 is that even though the effects are really, really good for the T1000,
I think they still look damn good today.
But here's the thing, though. T2 was released in 1991. I think those type of effects were prototyped in the Abyss 2 years earlier.
Yes, there would have been, yeah.
And I think the Abyss looks better.
The Abyss still looks really, really good.
Sorry, that's just me.
Do you know what? I'd rather that James Cameron came back and did a sequel to The Abyss, because he's still on about doing bloody Avatar 2, 3, 4, 5... I mean, Avengers Endgame...
More Dances with Smurfs.
Avengers Endgame's just past Avatar now as the most successful movie at the box office.
Yes.
But I challenge you to actually name a character from Avatar. Or I challenge you to actually find someone who puts their hand up and say, yeah, I'm a big fan of Avatar. Because it don't happen, does it? Josh, quickly, you're off camera. Name a character from Avatar.
No idea. Point proven.
Yeah.
Point proven. As a technical exercise, Avatar is very, very good. storyline wise, it's all over the place.
It's Fern Gully meets The Last Samurai.
Meets the Smurfs.
Meets the Smurfs, yeah.
And as for the 3D bit, I watched it in 3D, and the only thing that I got from it was the little like jellyfish just basically bouncing up and down.
Which looks really nice, yeah.
Which, okay, fine, fair enough, but no, really? Anyway, Avatar.
And cats having weird, awkward, cat people having weird, awkward sex with the ponytails.
Which nicely brings us on to cat people.
Right, so good CGI is getting better, as we've seen in the likes of Avatar and the MCU. Bad CGI, though, between this and that fucking Sonic the Hedgehog live-action trailer, is getting worse. We've got an all-list cast in here. We've got Taylor Swift, we've got Judi Dench, Ian McKellen, Idris Elba, Rebel Wilson.
Yeah.
So the performances...
Yeah, but also we've got James Corden.
We've also got James Corden, who can just fuck right off. So, I don't know, the performances might be so good that they'll distract from the creepy CGI, but I really hope they fix it before this comes out.
The thing about this is Tom Hooper is directing it. Obviously, he has previous with film adaptations with musicals, as he was the director for Les Miserables with Hugh Jackman and Russell Crowe. Oh dear,
dear me.
So on that point, if anybody's going to pull it off, I think it's going to be him. At the end of the day, it is based off the Andrew Lloyd Webber musical. Everybody loves cats. Great stuff. I watched the trailer. It looks interesting. I like what they seem to be doing with this.
We'll put it this way, the furries in the audience are going to fucking love it, aren't they?
Moving swiftly on. Check, please. I think that's the first time in any of our reviews or us getting together that you basically mentioned furries.
No, I did mention it in the Warriors as well.
Oh yeah, you did. Yes.
Remember the baseball furries?
Yeah, the baseball furries. Sorry, I do apologise.
That's not a baseball bat you've got. Well, most of the cats in the trailer, they've got human faces and human bodies. And they've got fur, ears, and tails like the only attributes of a cat. So the whole thing just looks
weird. Yeah.
Now in the stage show, I mean, being like a bit of a musical fan myself, you watch the stage show, and the characters are sort of stylized with costumes and with makeup.
Yeah.
That is what they should have gone with, rather than going for all this creepy looking.
I think the
CGI.
Yeah, I think the sets look interesting because I think the sets have been built to be bigger than the actors. So they've kind of got a thing going on as if they were borrowers or something like that. That basically you would be, it's a massively built armchair or something like that. So it works from that point of view. I think that's the way to go about it. When I was watching it, and yes, the music is it's the musical, but I found it rather distracting.
Yeah.
I found
and again, it's meant
distracting.
to be weird. It's meant to be like, it's meant to look weird. It's meant to look strange. It's in this weird universe where we've got cat people.
Yeah.
But it looks too weird to the point where it becomes distracting.
Well, I think with most of all of this stuff, we'll have to wait and see when it gets released.
There's all this weird.
Well, that's just the dancing what have you, isn't it? Yeah.
There's all this going off, which is, yeah, it's.
It's still alright then.
Yeah.
Did you get your medicine this morning?
No.
No, I don't think so.
It's very distracting, and I don't know if it's something I'm going to want to see. Personally speaking, I'm saying stick with the stage show. If you can get tickets to go see the stage show, then absolutely go for it. But this,
I think it's
maybe not.
I think is it due out? I think it's definitely due out this year.
It is, yeah.
I think it's definitely due out this year. I would be interested to see when it comes out this year. I think it might be around about Christmas time. If it is coming out around about Christmas time, then it's got absolutely no chance in hell of anybody getting to see it, because quite frankly, we're all going to be watching Star Wars.
Yeah. And I think that is a good point.
That wasn't mentioned. Nothing Star Wars.
Nothing Star Wars was mentioned this time, but to be honest, at this point, I don't think they need to, because there's already enough hype for people to go see that. I mean, J.J. Abrams is back, which can only be a good thing. Although, going back to Kevin Smith, apparently Kevin Smith was on the set while they were filming the finale, and he said, without giving away any spoilers, that the final shot of this last Star Wars film in the Skywalker saga is going to absolutely melt your brain. So if that's coming from Kevin Smith, that can only be a good thing. And at this point, I realise we've been recording for an hour and 13 minutes, which is a little bit longer than what we intended to.
We'll try and trim it down a little bit.
We'll try and trim it down a wee bit, but I think that's a good point to leave it off. So thank you for joining us for this San Diego Comic Con discussion, this extra long episode. We are currently editing at the moment the Carry On episode. We need to talk about Carrying Up the Kyber.
Yeah, we filmed that just last week.
So look out for that coming up soon. So until next time, I am the Big Daddy D, David Mabley, and I will say goodbye.
I am Luke Murphy. I too say goodbye. Enjoy yourselves.
And we're popping off to the pub now for some pizza and beer. So
absolutely.
We will catch you on the next episode of We Need to Talk About... Bye all.